He's not a bat, he's a man who fights crime. And we're gonna watch him fight for a minute at a time. With John and Niall, and I guess you just rhyme with Bat Minute!
Attention, citizens of fair Gotham, and welcome once again to Bat Minute Forever, the show that is best described as film analysis meets absolute lunacy. I am one of your hosts, John Parker.
And I am far too close for comfort, the co-host, Niall McGowan.
There's no such thing, Niall. There's no such thing. But we are joined by a very special guest. We have a newbie to Bat Minute.
Hi guys, this is Blake Reilly from D5 The Mighty Ducks and other places.
Hey! I have not watched The Mighty Ducks in years. I desperately need to go back to it. I used to love that as a kid. But anyway, this is minute 55, and the minute starts with a crush, and it ends with a whistle.
Gets right back into one of the greatest fallacies of all villains, not just Batman villains, but Batman villains that we've come across already. This pitch of, why don't we not just flat out kill Batman, but what if we prolong the plan to make him suffer, and that's definitely gonna work out for us, because why wouldn't it? We saw it in the last movie where Catwoman was like, well, I think Two-Face is right in his approach already of just keep trying to kill him, and then maybe eventually you'll get him.
I was going to ask that. That was my question I've got written down. What do you guys think? So we know, Niall, you think it's a bad plan. Blake, what are your thoughts then? Do you think they should humiliate him?
I think I think Two-Face has the right idea. Just kill him. I mean, what's the point at this point? I mean, you can figure out who he is. That's great. You could torture him. That's great. But what's wrong with just shooting him in the face at this point?
I mean, you could always humiliate him after the fact and besmirch his name when he's not there to defend himself.
True.
I think well, it's just this thing though, because the Riddler's pitch to him was after that you'd have post-homicidal depression. Do you think Two-Face could just shoot back to him no, I'll be pretty happy when he's dead. I'll just get on with my life then. But I really want to get this guy out of the way. And then after that, I'll worry about what. But no. I think I need to get this done, sooner rather than later, quite frankly.
Well, see, I get the plan. I get it. I understand why it's appealing. Because, well, as you said, now, you don't want to martyr him. But there's two problems with this. Number one, do they ever see themselves convincing the public that they're in the right and Batman was in the wrong? I can't see that happening. And also, they say they want to do it when Batman's at his weakest. That's when you crush him. But, is Batman ever at his weakest? Has he ever been weak?
No, it doesn't make sense as a... Because, again, the public's not going to side with the criminals. I think it's just more well, they'll be on our side, but at least they'll not like Batman.
Well, hang on a second, though. If his plan works and is mind control, technically, they can tell them in the mind control that Batman's bad at the end of the day.
Oh, yeah. In fact, again, just shoot him in the face and then do that afterwards. Tell everyone he was evil.
Exactly, but that might be part of the plan, though. I mean, the mind control is part of this.
Oh, that's a good point. They really should at least have one line about that.
Well, that's the thing. That's an indication, though, that the box can't actually control people's minds. It's just that's the thing that it should be able to do.
Exactly.
But it doesn't in this movie. All it does is suck out people's brainwaves. But if it was using this device, we can turn the people against him by implanting, synaptic messages or just something. I can do something to their brainwaves to make everybody really hate this guy. There's a plan. But no, it's just more no, me and you are going to do something just to humiliate Batman some way, and then we'll kill him, which is just a longer version of the plan that you already have going. It just involves a lot more of helping the Riddler get a load of money beforehand. It's a very self-serving plan on his behalf. But
oh, yeah.
It really is.
I'll tell you what
in what way, though? it's like, why would Two-Face want to help the Riddler make money? Like, it makes no sense. Like, there's zero reason for that.
Yeah, like he's tried to explain why they should work together, but I don't buy it. I don't see this Two-Face that we've met throughout this movie going, yeah, okay. I mean, I'm glad they team up because it's funny, but still.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's not the long con guy. Because I think the Riddler's pitch is like, well, I will help you find out who Batman is, and then you can go straight after him. But it's more like, I don't think Two-Face at this point even cares who Batman is. He's like, I don't care about the guy behind the mask. I just want to kill him. Like, I just... Well, again, so many questions actually were going on throughout the rest of the week that it is kind of half explained throughout the movie, because the Riddler can promise Two-Face, I'm going to help you find out who Batman is.
Yeah.
And it's like, how are you going to do that? I have this device. Look what it can do. Oh, that's amazing. This is how I found you. How did you find me? With this device. But how did you find me with this? Like, how is that going to help me figure out who Batman is? Like, well, I'm the Riddler.
We'll get into that. Yeah, we'll get into that.
It goes on and on, this thing.
I do really like one thing, though. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but the Riddler notices the sparkle in Harvey's left eye when he reveals the plan. And I thought to myself, not only is this because it's literally the only eye he can see right now, but also because, that's his evil side. The evil side likes it. He wants it.
Yeah, it's a nice touch. But I think that's an improv by Jim Carrey there too. It doesn't appear in any of the scripts that I can see.
No, but it's not in the one I usually
No
watch.
way. Jim Carrey improv something in this scene? I don't believe you. I don't believe you at all.
Reading a script or reading an interview with him recently, like around the time this came out, and they're just kind of saying like, "Oh, what did you contribute to the role and stuff?" And he's like, "Oh, a lot of stuff. Like I actually helped design the costumes. I helped and then at one point he says like, all of the dialogue. That's all me." Which isn't technically true because a lot of his lines are actually in the script, but like I think he did embellish quite a few of them.
Yeah, I mean, there's actually more that is in the script than I expected. No, he has ad-libbed a lot.
Well, you can tell me this. I have a question for you guys. With the script. Is the whole bit of him talking about his cave in the script, or is that improv?
Oh, the heavy metal meets house and garden. Shockingly, that is in the script.
Yeah.
That's a bit
Really?
you would assume.
Oh
was
my god, I
improvised,
thought that was improv.
Well, if anything, I think
Wow.
that shows that he is actually a good actor. Because he can make that sound natural and like he's just coming up with it, like the character would be.
Yeah, that's impressive, actually. That's very impressive. I really thought that was improv.
I do appreciate the way he gets slightly creepier as well. Like as as he's swaying Two-Face into his plan, he has this moment where he kind of does this, "I can help you get Batman," and kind of gives him this very. It's almost kind of like a bizarrely kind of lustful stare.
Yeah.
It's almost kind of a bit of a come hither to it in a weird way, which maybe just because Joel Schumacher is an incredibly oversexed man, everything is going to be infused with that. But
Of course.
it's just like, "Oh, Jim, put on your come to bed eyes for him there." I mean, maybe that is the thing. It's a slight seduction of like, "Oh, look what I can do for you." Like, he's going to lift up his bit of his tunic to expose a bit more leg and stuff. And be like, "Oh, come on over, Two-Face."
I mean, that's what he's trying to do. He is trying to seduce the Two-Face here. He's trying to seduce him time. So that could be why the voice is there. I mean,
Well,
obviously,
it works.
He's not using it on the girls. He's using it on Two-Face. So.
Yeah. And like he asks to be spared so they can achieve this goal. And I wouldn't call this seductive, but the way he hangs his mouth open at the end of the sentence is horrific. Like I hope he flossed today because Tommy Lee Jones is going to be seeing and smelling everything.
Well, that's, again, we've said it all movie. Like, Jim Carrey's mouth is working overtime in this film. Like, it's from his, "I'll make you understand." Everything's over enunciated. You can't help but look at this guy's. Like, I feel like I know his teeth now. Like, I feel like I could identify his teeth in a lineup. If they brought him in, I'd be like, "Oh, yes, that's the Jim Carrey teeth."
I'm good friends with his tonsils.
Any good dentist loves Jim Carrey in this movie.
Oh, God, yeah. I bet he pays his dentist millions.
I was actually, doing research. So, guys, you're constantly doing research on this thing as you go along. So I'm constantly watching like little reviews and stuff and seeing if I can get bits of information from here, there, and everywhere. I was like, again, watching something this week where they're talking about, well, overall, the reviewer's going like, yeah, it's a pretty bad movie. And they're going, "Oh, how terrible Jim Carrey and Tommy Lee Jones are. And
What?
they're showing a bit of this minute.
What?
And I was like, these two guys are doing great work in these minutes. Because I particularly love, again, when, you know, Jim he successfully goes like, okay, you know, that is if you'll spare my life for just one more moment. And then Two-Face is kind of like, like just, go ahead. You know, the kind of shuffle he
It's
gives.
funny.
Like, go.
As much as these two guys reportedly did not like each other on the set, they have insane comedic timing in this scene. Like, it's insane. They bounce off each other so well for two people who don't get along.
That's both impressive and upsetting because I wish they did get along. I want to see them together again.
Well, that's the thing though, because I did read an interview this week with Jim Carrey from Starlog magazine from 1995.
Wow.
Which is one of those great things when you read like a really old article, because they're talking about like, coming up after this film, Carrey has signed on to star in Revenge of the Mask with Cameron Diaz,
God.
which is rumored to come out next Christmas. And it's like, oh, good luck with that.
The mask.
But he does say at one point, like, because they were talking about, like, even then, there's rumors that you and Tommy Lee Jones didn't get on, and at the time, this is before Carrey came out with the whole, you know, he said he could not sanction my buffoonery and all those stories. What he said about Tommy is, Tommy Lee is an amazing actor. He scared the hell out of me, and basically he's a pain in the ass. But he's not someone you want to hang out with for too long. He's just a complex, troubled individual. And that's basically where it's at. So I used it. I had fun with it. And that was it. Tommy Lee comes from a different place than I do. So it was kind of fun, actually. It was kinetic and interesting, like two rams smashing into one another. Which is like, that doesn't sound like a good working environment to me. Like, fair play to Jim Carrey if he's like, well, I guess I'll use the tension.
Yeah. No, I actually think this is going to sound very strange. That's very mature of Jim Carrey.
Yeah, seriously.
And that goes along with, you know, what Joel Schumacher was saying, that, you know, Joel Schumacher would work with Jim Carrey again. He ain't got a kind word to say about Tommy Lee Jones now. So it could be that the funny clown man actually was the more mature adult of in compared to his cantankerous, crotchety old man co-star. One other thing, though, I thought was quite interesting, because now we we finally got the Riddler costume in its full flight and whatnot. And you got, you know, particularly, there's a close-up of, you know, the two of them, obviously. And shocking thing I found out, because both Joel Schumacher and the returning makeup artist, V. Neil, mentioned that, funnily enough, Jim Carrey's makeup was more difficult to pull off than Tommy Lee Jones's.
What?
Yeah, because they say that it's Tommy Lee Jones. Like, it's a lot of prosthetics. You come on, you glue them on, they'll stay there. But apparently Jim Carrey's was like, because they wanted him to look completely pristine and perfect in these scenes. And like, I think Joel Schumacher said he wanted to look like a doll, which I guess is kind of like, oh, maybe he's going for like the, you know, he took his disguise from a doll, so maybe that's what he's going for. But I guess I can kind of see it being true, because I'm not entirely thrilled by the mask and stuff he's got, but I can't imagine that would be difficult, because he's got this weird thing. It's not tied around the back. It's like it's sitting on his face like a pair of glasses.
It looks like glasses, yeah.
Yeah, and then it's green on black instead of green on, you'd assume it'd be green on green, just to kind of blend in, because Batman has the black eye makeup to blend the mask into the rest of his face, but this is more of a stark contrast. And it just, I can imagine that black makeup smudging on the green mask a lot. And, you know, you're under those hot lights and stuff like that. You can imagine that, this would be, like, really smudging around all the time. And, like, it'd be probably, like, a real pain in the ass to maintain that look over.
No, you just you just get a setting spray.
How far back do they go, though? Because this is, like, 95. Maybe setting sprays are more of a modern thing.
Maybe.
I'm just trying to remember. Didn't he have glasses before putting on this outfit? Is that like a prescription? Is that like a prescription mask glasses?
That would be cool.
Well, basically, I'm not a big fan of this mask at all. I think it's just like, it just looks silly. It's the one, like, well, the whole outfit looks. When he gets into this minute, I like the hat in general, because it makes him look quite impish and stuff. And like, oh, impish is a good quality to have about the Riddler. But then he kind of discards his hat. I think you see it like one more time in the movie, and then he's just like, nah, it's gone. And then he's wearing this tunic. I think the tunic shows up for like an additional scene, and then that's gone. And I kind of think when he has the hat off and he's wearing the tunic and the spandex, that's when he looks the best.
Yeah.
But then when he's all spandex, I'm like, nah, that ain't for me. And the addition of the mask is just so. I just don't think it never sits well with me. It's just like I wish it. What I would have done in my thinking, okay, if I was making this film, would be that so he's obviously come in here to like he doesn't want Two-Face to know who he is. Yeah. So he's like, oh, I need to wear some sort of disguise for myself. I'd have him come in with something a bit similar to like maybe he has a pair of glasses, but they're instead of sunglasses, they're instead of like been black lenses, they're like white lenses, and they're kind of tied up to his face, so it kind of looks like the comic book mask a little bit. Okay. And then if you're dead set on having like a little domino mask kind of thing, I would have throughout the rest of the movie, the more he keeps using the box, the more it kind of alters his physical appearance. So maybe later on he gets like green rings around his eyes and he looks more gaunt and stuff. And then the appearance of like the mask, you have a green or a purple kind of color, it kind of looks like that when he's just kind of hanging out in the place. It looks like he's wearing a little mask, but it's actually just because the box is morphing his head so much.
Okay, I would like that then. I wasn't with you all the way, and then you brought that bit up as like, okay, yeah.
They do a thing with at the end with the box, like completely misshaping his head. It's very subtle in the end film. Like they only even have it for one shot, and you're kind of like, is there something wrong with his hair? But apparently his whole head's contorted and stuff. And it's like, I think I would have done that throughout the whole film. Quite frankly, I would have had that as a through line. But then I think maybe they're like, well, McDonald's will come in and it's like, we gave you one note, okay? Tone it down.
And this is toned down.
See, this outfit is toy. This just says toy to me. You're selling this toy. That's all this outfit says to me. I do have a question. This is a valid question. We're talking about the hat and the mask. What's the point of the staff? Why did he carry it?
It looks cool.
Does it do something? Like, maybe because I was watching the live action Aladdin this morning, and like Jafar, his staff has a point. I don't understand why he's carrying around his staff that does nothing.
Yeah, at one point it does do when he's in Wayne Manor. The staff has a purpose. It's able to scan the room. He kind of flips it up and he's got a little like beep 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 kind of thing going on.
But that seems a bit weird. Like you'd want something more discreet.
I mean, he's a flamboyant guy.
He's not discreet. Riddler is not discreet at all.
True.
So,
no, this interpretation certainly isn't. And
no,
I'll play devil's advocate slightly, right? I think maybe the point is he's wearing these things once or twice because he is still in that phase where he's trying to figure out this new character he's created. Because you saw him coming up with names and costumes. So maybe he's like, I'm going to try a hat. And then, nah, I don't like that.
You know what? He looks very leprechaun-y with the hat on. So maybe that's what he's realized. Yeah. Like, no. Don't wear the hat.
Yeah, someone should have shouted at him like in the street, hey, leprechaun. He's like, oh, I'm not wearing this again. I don't want to be
I think that's when when people can kind of course correct because of, getting feedback from the public and stuff. And I remember they did it with Peter Capaldi when he was on Doctor Who because they revealed his costume, and they were like, "Look, here's the new outfit," and everyone was like, "What's going on here?" and stuff, and kind of had their notes on it. And then later on, within the first season, someone mentioned his clothes, and he's just like, "Yeah, no, I was going for minimalist, but I think it looks more like a magician." And I was like, "That's what everybody was saying. He looks like a magician, for Christ's sake." So I think they're going like, oh, "Okay, yeah." And then throughout the rest of his tenure, that outfit kept changing all the time because they're like, "Yeah, he does totally look like a magician. We should do something different."
Yeah, maybe then. Maybe it's a similar kind of thing, like a joke about that.
I'm sad to see the hat go. I think we do briefly see it within the next week, and then the hat goes away. You know me, John. I'm a hat guy, so it goes. But that's the thing, though. What are people's feelings on? Like, we finally get the reveal of the Riddler bouffant, this bright orange day glow flat top.
I love
it. It works. It works for him. It really does. I like the hat. I like the hair better than the hat, actually. Personally,
yeah, I love the hair because it Right, there's two reasons I love it. One, it's Annie Lennox, and who doesn't love Annie Lennox?
Oh, good
but
point.
two, it's so like of the time. It really updates the Riddler.
I'm just really thinking, though, that John, you say Annie Lennox, I just really want a scene of him going, riddle me this. Why?
Yes. And Jim Carrey would have done it. He probably was singing that on set.
That would have been hysterical. That would have been so funny. I'm picturing him doing it now in my head. It's hysterical.
Hell yeah. One of my favorite things he ever did is still in The Cable Guy when he starts singing. His karaoke.
When the truth is found.
I'm not a big fan of that movie, but that scene is hysterical.
Really?
I'm not.
No.
I've never been a big fan of The Cable Guy.
I think you're the first. We've mentioned the Cable Guy quite a bit this season.
I know.
You're the first person who didn't like it.
I didn't like it. I just wasn't a big fan of it. There's a difference.
The most shocking thing, though, is that everyone else we've asked has liked it, because when it came out, everyone did hate it, except for me.
Maybe it's that nostalgia thing. I don't know. Maybe when we watch it now, I might like it more now. Maybe that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think probably because it's the peak of stupid, over-the-top, silly rubber man Jim Carrey. But it takes it to such an insane level where it's like, you can never go back to this now. I'm killing off this version of me.
Maybe that's what it was for. Maybe did it on purpose that way.
I think maybe, yeah.
Maybe he was sick of doing it. He's like, well, I'm going to take this last character and be so over the top with it that we can never go back ever again.
It does have a big scene at the end where you think he's killing himself when he throws himself off on the satellite. So maybe it was supposed to be a symbolic, like, yep, this is the end of the Jim Carrey, Because I guess like the next big movie after that would have been Truman Show.
Truman Show, which I love that movie. I love that movie.
And that's
so much.
that is he's still relatively zany in that, but that's a really
but nowhere near
version.
This.
Yeah.
In this movie.
Yeah, Truman Show might be silly, but it's not like a living cartoon like his other.
Yeah. Even then, the way that story goes is if he's a little over the top, it's meant to be that way because of the story we're telling, instead of being like here where he's just over the top to be over the top.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, though. So, like, again, on the hair, I've been trying to track the history of the Riddler's general appearance, and it's relatively consistent, actually. Compared to like last season when like brought out the history of Catwoman's costumes, and there was like 50 of them before they got to Michelle Pfeiffer, and it's just like, oh, she used to have a cape, and then she used to not have a cape, and then it used to be a big furry mask, and then it was blah, 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 blah. But the Riddler always had a very consistent look, which they have altered. Because usually, for the most part, was always the spandex. Usually always had purple accoutrements attached. Like, it would always be a purple belt, purple gloves, and a purple mask.
Purple
and I'm wondering...
rain.
Wrong movie.
Like, we covered that movie. We covered that movie. But I'm wondering if it's because purple and green, that's the Joker's colors to most people. It's like, well, you got another guy coming in who's already done that. And then I think they did say in when they were designing Two-Face, because originally Two-Face, when you saw him in his first appearance, used to have, obviously the split design, green face and a purple suit on the scarred side, and then a bright orange suit and normal face. And they were saying, like, yeah, we were considering giving him a green face, but then the Riddler's green, so we had to go for purple with Tommy and stuff. And like, so I'm wondering if they like, get rid of all the purple stuff because it's too, that's tied to the Joker, and you don't want to. We want to have a different color scheme and whatnot. And
they were really obsessed with that color scheme, aren't they? They were obsessed with the green purple thing going on.
Oh, well, green and purple are my two favorite colors, so I am on board.
Yeah,
purple's my old school colors, so I love purple anyway. So
hell yeah.
But and then the Riddler, for the most part, usually has black hair, and that's the thing. Is like, I think the first time I can remember seeing the Riddler with red hair was the Batman animated series. So I don't know if they're just like, oh, he has it in that cartoon, so we'll give him red hair. And then Joel Schumacher's comment on the commentary is like, yeah, the hair, it's a nice contrast to the green, to have just like this. He refers to it as like orange pink hair, where it's just like it pops so much in comparison to the green. He's just like, yeah, it's just visually arresting to have this big bright orange thing.
That's
and
a good
then
point.
a green body. He's got a pale face. I should love this because it's like, well, that's the tricolor of Ireland. That's like, oh, the green, white, and gold. He's
there you
Jim
go.
Carrey is representing the Irish nation here.
Without even trying.
He's an Irish Republican.
Yeah. That's why I'm completely on this guy's side now. I was like,
Whoa.
but yeah, I thought that was in trying to find where the red hair came from. Can't track it down yet. I've been looking to see if there's any specific quote of like why we specifically gave him an orange flat top. But I can only assume it was just like they thought it looked good, and they were like, well, it kind of looks, it's just a nice color. It's like, playing with a color palette that's quite nice and vibrant, and it's a better.
And it's very different. It's very new. It's very hip. It's like, let's update the character. People know this is the 90s now, baby.
Or it's funny, maybe it's one of those things where they're thinking, well, it doesn't matter what the color of his hair is because people are not going to be paying attention to it because they're going to be watching him. So let's have some fun with the color of the hair, and no one's really going to notice because he's going to be wacky Jim Carrey, and because unlike us, where we sit and we stare at this stuff all the time, there are people that'll be like, "Oh, his hair is orange, really?"
You're probably right, yeah.
But again, to talk about Jim Carrey, a man who can own a room. I love this cut though, of going from this really intense, close up of him and Tommy, and just like it's, he's whispering in his ear, just like, oh no, and then he does this kind of fixes his tunic and does a little like, thank you. And then instantly into, I really love what you've done with this place. And then the music just kicks back in. It's a guy really just like, okay, now I'm on. Like I'm treading the boards. I am commanding this room.
I'll tell you what, for the character though of the Riddler, I find him here. He's very rude and very cocky towards Two-Face. Like he's lucky he doesn't get shot right now the way he's talking to him. I
think it's actually, I'll get to it in later minutes, but like, yeah, he's even worse than the original script. Like they make him the point he's flat out insulting Two-Face. I think maybe it's just like, fake it till you make it. Like he is internally terrified, but he's like, what this guy respects? Bravado. Yeah. So if I come in and I just act like I know what I'm doing, and I'm not scared of him, and I'll completely dominate everything about this place, he might be kind of stunned and cowed enough to be like, well,
or anything else.
Yeah, impressed. He might just be like, yep, all right, let's hear you out, little green man.
Maybe, because I mean, like when Two-Face lets him go and he thanks him, he's like, thank you. It's mocking, and then he prances around, throws his cane and his hat like he owns the damn place. I suppose in a way he now does, because for the rest of the film, Two-Face is going to take a back seat.
That is right. Yeah, this is actually, notice at this point, as he's walking through the room initially, it's Two-Face's music that kicks in. As dun, 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 dun. And then by the end of this week, it's gonna be the Riddler theme in full on swing, as if the music's going, all right, there's a new king in town, Yeah. Oh hell, the new king in town.
But I think the Riddler obviously is clever. He knows that he now controls Harvey. Like Two-Face, he won't let on. But he now needs the Riddler for what is to come.
Again, too, I think he did have the confidence of kind of he has the carrot on the stick. Like it's almost as if his orange hair is indicating the carrot that he has, because he does have like, I can help you get Batman if you'll spare my life. And he had a little kind of confident, smug smile where he's just like, I have something that you want, even though he doesn't know who Batman is yet. He just has the kind of gumption to be like, I guess I could find out, but I guess we'll see. He is just kind of mocking Two-Face throughout this whole thing, though, of just doing the comment on...
It's very condescending. I was thinking very condescending at times, where it's like, I'm going to like just be over the top with this, and just like, I hope you know what I'm saying, but if you don't, I'm going to over-explain it for no reason.
But even, too, coming in and like, I know what your mental... disability is, essentially. Like, I know that you are a man afflicted with double personalities. I'm going to come in and kind of mock it by doing my whole, it's heavy metal meets house and garden and all this.
It's a great line. I'm sorry, it's a great line.
We'll also say, too, because he does another little flip of the cane, clearing up a thing we said last week. I had previously read that Jim Carrey went through 100 of these prop canes. breaking them. Apparently, no. I've since read it was only a dozen.
Oh,
that he went through.
only.
Okay,
Only a dozen.
You know what? That makes it a lot better. I'm not gonna lie.
And actually, again, from that Starlog interview, he mentions that he actually says he loved the comics when he was a kid, but he wasn't a fan of the Riddler. But then he started looking into him. He says like, "Oh, I was surprised to see that he even had a cane in the comics," which he does. And he's like, "Oh, John Astin when he played him in the '60s show, taking over from Frank Gorshin for one season." He's like, "Oh, he had a cane, so I wanted a cane and stuff." And then he's like, "Oh, the cane was so much fun," and he's like, "Oh, apparently trashed a lot of the furniture in his trailer by like flipping it around, and apparently paralyzed himself in the arm several times by banging it into his own arm by mistake."
Oh, jeez.
So again, it's like a guy, he's really, really committed. Like Joel Schumacher's constantly, he comments on the cane twirling. It's like, oh, he would be up for hours learning how to twirl that cane. And I guess it does pay off too, because when you think of this movie and the Riddler, one thing that popped in my head is like, oh yeah, him in the doorway of the Batcave swinging his cane around his neck and everything. So I guess it's like, well, he knew that would be an eye-catching thing to do, and I guess he wanted his bit of business. So he's like, well, I get to play with a cane all the time. I love this. I'm wondering how many of those dozen canes were destroyed in this specific scene where he just throws it willy-nilly.
That accounts for at least 5 of them, right?
True. He just kind of throws it hits against the wall, and shatters. That wasn't supposed to happen. Wait.
Yeah, he probably wasn't told to do that. He just did it. It was like, oh, oh crap.
And now we have to do it over and over again because I did it once. So now we have to keep doing it.
It was actually originally a different actress playing Spice, but she got like conked in the head when Carrie threw the canister. I was like, all right, bring in Spice too.
Stunt double.
Yep. And again, though, like he's a guy. He does know the people he's dealing with. In that, like, when he comes in, he sits down one of the box units on Spice's side of the room, and he kind of gives her like a kind of kinky, growling, sort of, Dom-esque, like, come here, kind of, because he knows that's what she's into, I guess.
That sounded a bit Mortal Kombat.
Get over here! And then that's the thing, though, because I guess maybe, with Spice is like, oh, I guess he feels he needs to dominate her by coming over, but like, giving her this kind of thing. And then his approach with Sugar is a lot more, again, it's domineering, but it's kind of condescending, so maybe he's deduced like we did. I guess she's the sub of this relationship because she's the nice one and whatnot. So he gives her this whistle of like, come here, which it's disrespectful.
And then she listens. So there you go.
That's the thing. Maybe that's her kink. Maybe she's like, oh, this guy gets me, because throughout the rest of the movie, Sugar's kind of becomes the Riddler's girlfriend. So maybe she does. Like, oh, this guy understands me. Like he gets what I like. I like to be domineered by random psychos. So,
I love his little walk when he produces 2 of the boxes, and they're that weird little cartoon walk he does across the room, like do 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 do. Like, why doesn't Jim Carrey do motion capture work? Technically, he's done 1 or 2, hasn't he? Because he did
the Christmas Carol.
Christmas Carol. But was he
Oh,
actually acting
yeah.
that?
I think he was. I think that
was.
was all. I think that was done the same, like the Polar Express way.
I want him to do proper motion capture work.
That was too distracting, though. Like, I think I tried watching that, and I remember people told me, like, oh, it's genuinely scary and stuff. This version of Christmas.
I've never made it through that movie. I've never made it through. Polar Express, I've seen 10,000 times. Christmas Carol, I've never made it through.
I quite liked Christmas Carol. It was okay. It was different. Jim Carrey's not the best at doing the voice, though.
All I really remember is tuppence, which is the one. I remember him saying that, and I remember going, "I'm done." As soon as like the Ghost of Christmas Past was revealed to be Jim Carrey as a fire atop a candle. It's just a little candle with Jim Carrey's face in the flame, and he's like, "Hello, it's me, the Ghost of Christmas Past." I was like, "Nope."
It's better than you're making it sound.
It doesn't sound like it. It doesn't sound like it at all.
But that was me. Just like, I respect that you've dedicated yourself to doing all the parts, Jim. You want to be an Eddie Murphy type. I get it. But
Nobody should ever do that again.
No.
We all had enough of that.
I think with Eddie at the minute, because he's done the Dolomite movie, and he's great in that. And it should be really like, okay, Eddie, retire. Like, just stop now. Because now you got a whiff of success again. Don't you go pissing it away with, like, Haunted Mansion 2 or something like that. Just, like, end on the high and just walk away. But
no, I do
all
agree.
Right.
And one last thing I have is that I've mentioned it before, but it comes up again here. I can't call these things the box. It's not a box. Look at it.
It's not a box. No, it's not a box.
It's a blender.
what we should really... Because, yeah, I totally agree with you. I guess the box only works if you put it in the context of it's supposed to be doing with TVs.
Yeah, the
Like,
box. Yeah.
That
Right,
is
like a
it's-
Keo
it's-
box kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Mm.
But it's like, yeah, it just doesn't... like. But now it's like, well, what else would you call it? Like, I think maybe we should put that to the listeners. Like, people should write in suggestions for what better name they could have. Because you think of now, it'd be like, I don't know, the Nigmanator,
Nigmatron.
Yeah, Nigma. Oh, there you go. Because they weirdly did that in sync. Because they got a
done.
blender. So I guess you can't really tell people what it does flat out. You can't be like the brain sucker or
See,
something like that.
in my notes, I always just call it like the device, but that's not got a lot of marketing value. That name.
Yeah. That's just like, oh, the island. It's just like, I guess that might intrigue people. It's like, ooh, what is the device? Oh, no one can be told what the device
Hey, you know what?
is.
The child seemed to work this past year. So
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
Although nobody called it the child. Though.
no.
Everyone was like,
But
oh, baby
it does
Yoda.
work though.
Yeah.
It does work.
I get annoyed with people who are like, don't call it Baby Yoda. He's not Yoda. It's like, we know he's not Yoda,
But he
but
looks
we
like
don't
him.
know his name.
That is going to be this century's. Well, I think you'll find that Frankenstein was the scientist and not the monster.
Okay, all right. I see where we're going with this.
But yeah, I'm tapped out for this minute. If you guys
Same here.
Yeah, same. But Niall, you have one thing to pose to us before we depart.
Yes,
Oh,
I don't know if you know,
yes.
but this we
I
have
know.
the riddle for the weekend. So yes, riddle me this: what do I get to keep after I give it to someone else?
Okay.
Don't-
I have a guess, but I'm going to wait to see if Blake, you have a guess first. Because
I
as the
don't-
guest,
I
you're allowed
don't-
to do it.
I don't know. I'm trying to think. My first thought was like, well, my first guess was like thoughts, but it doesn't make any sense. So,
I'm going to say my heart.
ooh, I like that
Oh.
answer. I like that
You're
answer.
in the ballpark, but not quite.
Okay.
Shall we adjourn till Friday?
Okay.
Yes,
If you want to.
let's ponder it all week.
Are
And we
you
will
pondering what I'm pondering?
Well, you tell me.
I mean, yeah, but how does Two-Face choose what hat he wants to wear, Brian? What if it only has one design on it?
That's our new show coming soon.
Yeah, Pinky in the Minute.
Oh, yeah.
There it is. There it is.
There it is. And actually, you do that now, and I'll do a rival one, Minute in the Brain.
Oh.
So while you all dream about what a wonderful show this will be, we will depart. We'll head off into the dark, dark night. Blake, would you like to tell people where they can find you and your shows online?
I feel like I could do one every day. So I'll start with D5 The Mighty Ducks. That is, show is returning in April. And we talk about the Mighty Ducks movies 5 minutes at a time. Niall is on both seasons, which is awesome. And we're going into the second movie, like I said, starting in April. So there you go.
Oh,
You can find it
April.
everywhere
Oh,
you
perfect.
hear podcasts. Everywhere you hear podcasts.
That'll be a Christmas present, I almost called it. A birthday present for me, then. April.
And me too.
Hey! Well, all the coolest people are born in April, which Niall wouldn't know anything about.
What?
And come and speak to us on Facebook at the Bat Minute Listeners Cave, Twitter at Bat Minute, and come and check us out on Patreon. You can get more content, more for a very low price. So do that, and we will see you again on Wednesday for more Bat Minute Forever.
Noise, 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 smoking weed, doing coke, drinking beers, watching bats. Oh! Now everybody knows that nobody has more love for the Dark Knight than me and my hetero life mate here, Silent Bob. Ain't that right, Tubby? That's why the smokers of this fucking pussy podcast asked us to write an outro, all fucking Adam West, Pam Bow Zap style. Some shit about how next time an intellectual irritant is going to examine and explore some interior decor while Sugar and Spice get their brains boxed real nice. But I ain't got time to string words together like that and shit. So I'm handing it all over to fucking Lunchbox here. You think you can handle that, Silent Bob? Then take it away. Snooch to the nooch!
Ba-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.